When there's trouble, you know who to call. Teen Titans! From their tower they can see it all. Teen Titans! When there's evil on the attack, you can rest knowing they got your back. Cause when the world needs heroes on patrol, Teen Titans go! With their superpowers they unite. Teen Titans never met a villain that they like. Teen Titans, they got the bad guys on the run. They never stop till the job gets done. Cause when the world is losing all control, Teen Titans go! 1, 2, 3, 4, go! Teen Titans!
Well guys, I thought you might kind of enjoy that before I actually start talking about this show, which I've just started getting into recently. Now those of you familiar with the show may be wondering at this point exactly why I've only just started watching it now, since it's been, what, about 6-7 years since it came off the air. Well, the truth is that I was not aware that this show even existed until fairly recently. And I think the reason for that is, I don't believe, I've done a bit of research into this just to be sure, I don't think this show was ever actually broadcast in the UK. You know, I've looked through various archived things of Cartoon Network that is shown in this country, and I can't find Teen Titans anywhere. But thanks to this wonderful thing called the internet, I have been able to catch up on this show now and been able to watch various online feeds of episodes. I'm only probably about a quarter of the way through the episodes at the moment, but so far I'm absolutely loving it. It's not by any means the greatest superhero show or animated show that I've ever seen, but it's pretty damn good, I have to say. I'm just going to give a few sort of initial thoughts, having seen probably, about 10-15 episodes so far. First of all, there's an interesting kind of balance they have with this show, I think, between the sort of serious, sort of sentimental side of it, being a character show and it being about a group of friends, but also being about superheroes fighting evil, and the comedy that comes, I suppose, sort of mainly from the animation, actually, this sort of anime kind of style of animation. I remember thinking when I was watching the Pokemon cartoon, which was kind of like my introduction to anime, if the writing on the show was just a little bit better, this could be a great show, actually, because the animation was really sort of vibrant. It was a little cheap in some areas, but some of the things they did with kind of the animation of the facial expressions and the different things they did with their body that is only really possible in anime, that really I found kind of interesting. And I think this show has properly recognised that, the different facial expressions they come out with. I do kind of feel like they go a little bit overboard with this sort of visual comedy they do in the animation sometimes. Sometimes it can kind of like ruin the moment from time to time. In fact, I think there's actually one moment where Raven says something like, you're kind of ruining the moment here. Because, this just sort of overboard comedy kind of takes over. And it's very sort of vibrant. And I think certainly with animation, I think I've realised over time now, really important thing I think with any animated show is to have the characters express emotion through visuals as much as possible, because that's actually something you can do with animation. I think I realise now why I didn't like the Transformers cartoon, and that's because the characters didn't have faces. For an animated show, that's a real problem. I really find it difficult to connect with characters in an animated show without faces. That they can't express any kind of emotion through anything other than their voice, basically. No real connection with the characters in there because they don't have faces, and obviously this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where they are so expressive with everything that they do. This is a show, I think, that perhaps is finding it difficult, I think, to find a balance at times between, the serious stuff and the comedy. I have seen episodes where I think they're almost entirely comedy-based, and those have been the ones that I've enjoyed the least. I think they need... It's an important thing, I think, with any kind of show. Certainly, if it's going to appeal to me, I think it needs that balance of comedy and seriousness. Which sort of brings me on to Teen Titans Go, I suppose, where they obviously have gone for the full-fledged comedy. That was basically the reason why I suddenly became familiar with this show over the last, few months. People have started talking about Teen Titans Go, which also is not being broadcast in this country, to my knowledge. I certainly can't find it anywhere on Cartoon Network. Where they've gone full out for the comedy in that show, and it's just ruined everything for me. I've watched one episode of that, the pilot episode, and the entire time I was watching, I just wanted to shut it off, basically. It was that unbearable, as far as I was concerned. You know, if you like that kind of overblown kind of comedy type show, I guess as a show on its own, if you like that kind of thing, maybe it works. It's not my kind of thing at all, personally, but if you like that, more power to you, but it's not Teen Titans, I'm sorry. I don't understand why they've made it Teen Titans, really. It's nothing like the original show at all. I think it's kind of cute that they've made Raven a brony in that. Because that actually does sort of fit Raven's character quite well. You know, I mean, obviously they've done it because she's voiced by Tara Strong, but I think it actually does kind of fit Raven's personality quite well. You know, she's a kind of sort of mysterious, which does sort of bring me onto the characters quite nicely. I think Raven probably is my favourite character. I think she sort of brings the show back to a sort of more sort of serious kind of sense because, you know, of all the sort of vibrant and comedic things that the characters do, she probably has the least amount of comedic moments. Of a mysterious kind of character, much more complex in that sense. I think it's much more difficult to understand what is going on with her, and I do like the way that her and Beast Boy is sort of like the main ship that the fans have for this show. I think that's kind of a sort of opposites attract kind of thing, that again, kind of a sort of complex kind of relationship that the two of them have. Another major source of comedy obviously comes from Starfire's dialogue. I'm not sure if it's right to call it broken English, but it's certainly got that kind of sort of not entirely sure about the English grammar and the English language kind of way that she talks. That is obviously very funny, which obviously makes sense because she's an alien. It struck me actually I haven't seen that many Starfire episodes yet. I've not seen many Cyborg episodes yet either. I was thinking for a while watching the show that he was coming across as a bit bland, then I actually went and watched a couple of Cyborg episodes and it's like, oh, you know what, he's more just a sort of a tough guy, the hitman of the team, basically, the guy that does most of the kind of physical work. You know, he's kind of like Monty from Rescue Rangers. Robin basically needs to be kind of normal, I think, because he's the leader, and perhaps he's also sort of the Batman of the series, which would make sense, obviously, him being Batman's sidekick. Beast Boy, I've got to be honest, kind of annoys me. Obviously, with him having Boy in his name, I guess he's supposed to be the youngest member of the team. So perhaps he's supposed to be a little bit childish, but I don't know, his childish nature comes across as a little irritating to me. But yeah, there's certainly an extremely versatile group of characters here. I'm finding a lot of them a little difficult to figure out at the moment. Cyborg, I think I probably figured out fairly well, but the rest of them are certainly very kind of complex. Robin is relatively normal, I would say, from what I've seen of him so far. He's, you know, it makes sense for him being the leader. But yeah, as a character-driven show, this is definitely something I'm becoming more and more invested in. There doesn't seem to be any kind of overarching story or character progression in what's going on here. It looks to me like the situation when the show starts is more or less the same when the show ends, except for the fact that I suppose a few more characters have been introduced by that point. I have seen the final episode, and yes, I agree with what most people seem to think. That ending to the show fucking sucks. It's awful, and it's just another reason to hate Teen Titans Go, I suppose, because it doesn't extend, it doesn't pick up where the original show left off, when there was such an obvious opportunity there to continue things going. You know, I'm not one of those, you know, obsessive fans who will just be like, any time a show I like ends is really upset or anything like that. I think it's about time that Futurama did finish. You know, it's had a good run, you know, it's time for it to go, but I don't think that it's right to end it like that. You know, I have no problem with them ending Teen Titans when it ended, but ending it the way that they did was terrible. It's one of the worst endings to any show I think I've ever seen. So yeah, that's just some sort of basic thoughts on what I've seen from having seen about 20-25% of the Teen Titans episodes so far. I wouldn't call it a personal favourite show of mine yet. I don't think I've seen enough of it to be able to say that. And there are a few things about it that I don't like. Beast Boy, a little overboard with the comedy from time to time, but for the most part, from what I've seen so far, I am really liking it. Okay, that's that, guys. I will see you soon.